Penny? Can we all rise and say the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Penny? Jake, please call the roll.
Craig Kenworthy,
Yes, sir.
Brian Wiseman. Here. Carl English. Here. Robert Durance. Here. Tony Donning.
Here.
We have a quorum, off we go. All right, the first thing on the agenda is you all have a copy of the minutes from last month's meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
Is it?
Correct. The minute,
The minutes didn't come, did they?
unfortunately Deb had a fire.
Yes,
And
oh, I'm sorry, yes, I remember. All right.
so the minutes will be forthcoming.
Okay, I was just, all right. I guess we didn't get a copy of the minutes.
Sorry,
We're through this thing, aren't I?
Yeah, sorry, I should have mentioned that. You pulled that out of the agenda.
We will approve those minutes in the next month's meeting. So, that brings us to Mr. Hollenbeck.
I'm going to yield to Bob and Carl. I believe they both have resolutions they'd like to present to the board for adoption this evening.
Would you like me to read that? I have a resolution to honor Drew Armstrong's time serving the park board. He served the park board diligently for years, and we're very grateful for Drew's service to Porter County and Porter County Parks and Recreation. It says here, whereas Drew Armstrong served for 8 years as a member of the Porter County Parks and Recreation, and whereas Drew Armstrong was dedicated and committed and diligent member of the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation, and whereas Drew Armstrong did during his service on the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation faithfully and conscientiously discharged his duties, unselfishly put forth his talents and knowledge in service to the citizens of Porter County. And whereas the Porter County Parks and Recreation is desirous of publicly and officially expressing its gratitude and appreciation to Drew Armstrong, and in so doing acknowledging and memorializing the dedicated and committed service of Drew Armstrong as a member of the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation. Therefore, be it resolved by the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation that Drew Armstrong should be and is hereby publicly commended, acknowledged, and applauded for his 8 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Porter County as a member of the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation, all of which have been resolved this 12th day of October 2022 by the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation thereof.
And my resolution is for Ms. Werfel.
Hang on a second,
Wait,
one
one
second.
at a time.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Craig Kenworthy,
Yes,
Brian Wiseman,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Robert Durance,
Yes.
Tony Donning.
Yes.
so be it.
All right.
I need 3 signed copies. While that's being circulated for signature, Carl, why don't you offer your resolution?
And
We're gonna sign real quick.
Dave, do you need 3 copies? Everybody signed 3 papers?
I'm sure it'll pass. That'll be sound good on the tape.
All right.
Okay, and this resolution is for Ms. Werfel, Liz Werfel. Whereas Liz Werfel served the citizens of Porter County as a member of the Porter County Park Board, Board of Parks and Recreation from May 21 through August of 22, and whereas Liz Werfel did during her service of the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation faithfully, conscientiously discharge her duties and unselfishly put forth her talents and knowledge in service to the citizens of Porter County. And whereas the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation is a series of publicly and officially expressing its gratitude and appreciation to Liz Werfel, and in doing so, acknowledging and memorializing the dedicated and committed service of Liz Werfel as a member of the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation. Therefore, let it be resolved by the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation that Liz Werfel deserves the grateful acknowledgement and appreciation of the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation and the citizens of Porter County and the public recognition bestowed by this resolution. That Liz Werfel should be and is hereby recognized, commended, and acknowledged for her dedication, commitment, and service during the time she was a member of the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation, all of which having been resolved this second day of March 2023 by the Porter County Board of Parks and Recreation.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Craig Kenworthy,
Yes.
Brian Wiseman,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Robert Durance,
Yes.
Tony Donning,
Yes.
Okay, both of those individuals served us well, and you've now come liberated
You got
the service they gave us. I will take my part of the report back
Okay.
after I turn it over to Bob. In my discussions with your chairperson, I am advised that the naming policy that I distributed to each of you last month for your consideration is acceptable to a majority of you, and you were interested this evening in adopting it as the park board procedure for providing people with naming rights. So I have prepared a resolution to that effect, and attached to the resolution is that naming policy that we looked at last month. Any questions, obviously, I will answer them, otherwise it would be appropriate again for the chair,
Are we signing all this today? Okay, we're good. Yes, go ahead.
chair to entertain, if absent any questions, it would be appropriate for the chair to entertain a motion to adopt the naming policy resolution.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Anybody want to talk about the naming policy? I know we're up here signing like we're filling out mortgages, but,
Well, we spent a few weeks looking it over, comparing it to some policies here with Valparaiso Parks and Chesterton Parks, and we felt like the policy they presented with us last month was more than sufficient.
Agreed.
I know there's been a little bit of discussion, because we got one from one of the park districts that named off actual pricing for different things. My humble opinion is we can use that as an amendment to this, and once we figure out, what we want, benches, trees, bricks, cost, ancillary costs, and maybe you can start thinking about that, Jake, prepare that for us, and then go forward from there as a add to this. So, but right now, I think we've got a basic policy in front of us. I'm good with it.
Me too.
Brian had made a point that as far as benches and things like that are concerned, to try to use the most recyclable materials available in the market, those kinds of things, just to make it, keep it nice and environmental friendly.
Okay. So we have a motion, second, discussion's over. Next is,
Craig Kenworthy,
yes.
Brian Wiseman,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Robert Durance,
Yes.
Tony Donning,
Yes.
Brian and Carl, we need your signature on that one.
That one. We're short somebody's on this one.
Next on my list, I'm not trying to swamp you with paperwork. Next on
Hang
my
on
list,
till he's
Not
done.
trying, you're really nailing it.
for not trying, I'm doing pretty well, I'm told. Annually, as part of the process whereby the Porter County Convention Recreation and Visitors Commission has approval of its annual budget at the county council, discussions ensue about sharing some of the innkeeper tax revenue with the various venues in Porter County, consisting of the Memorial Opera House, the Expo Center, and the jail museum, and the park department. And that happened again this past year, and I've provided you, but I brought some more copies with the agreement as it came out of the county council deliberations for for this year. The amount of the money that is going to be forwarded to the park department is $35,640, and that comes from innkeeper tax revenue. That is the same amount that was distributed in 2022. There are a few minor changes to the agreement that I referenced in my February 21st email. It has to do with the commitment you're making to allow brochures of the Visitors Commission to be available to people in the parks. Also to put the logo of the Visitors Commission on any work product you produce that's paid for out of these monies, a promotional type activity. And then the other thing, and this was brought on by the pandemic, there is now language in this agreement, if the strange thing should happen, called a pandemic or anything else, that change significantly the revenue from the innkeeper's tax, then this agreement would be revisited because there was an unanticipated decline in the amount of money that was available to distribute. So I'll answer any question, and for purposes of clarity, most of you know I represent the Visitors Commission as well as this august body. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, upon the approval, it will become effective and you'll have $35,600 to spend on promotional related activities for the park system. Absent any questions, I'll turn it back to our chairperson to determine whether it's acceptable for adoption.
Need a motion?
I'll motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask anybody about any of this? You're fully aware of what this goes on. You know what happens with this money too?
It's a great arrangement.
Okay, I just,
The Visitors Commission is not asking for any naming rights.
Yahtzee. All right, with that said,
Craig Kimberly,
yes.
Brian Wiseman,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Robert Durantz,
Yes?
Tony Dunning,
Yes.
How many do you need signed?
Oh, sign 3 of them for me. The auditor always wants one of them. I'll get one to the Visitors Commission, and we'll keep, Jake can keep, why don't you sign 4? Jake will keep one, and I'll keep one in my file. Next on my list, and Jackie, where's Jackie? Okay. Jackie approached me 10 days, 2 weeks ago, maybe it was more than that, with the idea that the staff has determined that there's some ability to do some programming and to utilize the Valparaiso Baptist Church facility. And in order to do that, we need to enter into a written agreement with them, the classic MOU, that will define roles and responsibilities. And I'm going to call on Jackie to give you the short version of what we're going to accomplish by utilizing that facility.
They are allowing us to use their gymnasium for us to put some exercise programming, wellness programming, things like that, that Becky has put together so that we can, and it would be a revenue building scenario. In exchange for that, the Valpo Baptist Church group comes to us and they put a festival on that brings in 2,000 people to the park. They did it last year, and we did an in-kind sort of situation with them, and they volunteered for some events with us. They're very helpful. They've hands-on done a lot with us and for us. So the offer of the building came up in a conversation, and they're letting us, it's a huge building. It will house quite a few people. Becky's programs could get a lot of growth from it. The building is separate from the church, so you can drive back behind the building to access the building itself. So it's really kind of a nice area for people to visit and be able to enjoy Becky's programs. And we think it would be a great opportunity for us to be able to expand and allow them to utilize the park and also bring visitors into the park. So I think it's a good exchange between us and them.
Is the use of that building year-round or just in the winter months?
We have specific dates that Becky has programs, but I'm sure that if we want to expand on that, I'm not sure how that'll work into our MOU, but they're very willing and want us there, and we want them in the park. So it's a very friendly atmosphere, and I'm sure that if there were changes to be made, we could do that and add dates or expand however we wanted to. They're very open to us being there, so.
Absent any other questions or concerns, what I'd be looking for tonight is your approval of this arrangement in principle, and then the delegation of responsibility to Craig and I to put the meat on the bones of the agreement and get it executed to the benefit of both us and the church.
Need a motion on that?
I would like a motion on that.
So moved.
Seconded. You got it? I got it. Second, I'll do it. I got it.
All right.
Any truck.
We got a motion. Does anybody have any questions for Jackie or about how this works, or any other concerns, questions that you want to discuss?
Again, I believe the only question I had was in the form of liabilities. That was, but again, you guys said you had people sign off on waivers and stuff like that, so we covered that.
Yes,
right?
everything we do has waivers attached
recall
to it when it comes to stuff like that. Becky's already got all those things in place.
Awesome. I didn't remember till I asked the question.
How many years have we been partnering with the church like this?
This is our first actual, well, they brought the festival to us, and then in turn, I said, well, we need, because they were asking for discounts and things like that. And I said, well, normally when we discount things, it's because we get something from you, you get something from us. So they would come in and volunteer, and so I'd say one full year.
So this is a
It's an
good
annual event
relationship
on-
we're building.
Yeah, it's an
with them.
annual event on their part for them to use the park in the
Would I have
capacity
one?
that they did. And then for us, this is our first opportunity to have that big of a building. And it's a beautiful building, it's carpeted, I mean, it's amazing. So this is the first year. It hasn't been, there's no real history there, but they're very open-minded and very willing to work with us.
Actually, I need 4 more.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Jackie? Jake, please call the roll.
Craig Kenworthy,
Yes.
Brian Wiseman,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Robert Durantz,
Yes?
Tony Donning.
Yes.
Okay, I promise I'm done sending paper your way. And that is consistent with my ending my report.
Okay.
End of my report.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Does anybody have any questions for Dave? Or we sign off on that? Okay, I think the next thing we got to do, signing away, staff report.
Alrighty. So, a lot has happened in the month of February. Kind of the biggest thing that I've been working on with Jackie, with Tyler, with Carl and Brian and Sharon from the foundation, was getting a playground quote rendering play structure to start hopefully moving forward the process of replacing that playground at Sunset Hill. So attached is kind of the rendering and the layout of the one that we felt best met the needs we were looking for in terms of minimal to no distribution or disturbing of the existing green space. It'll fit within an existing play space. We don't have to cut trees, cut in the ground. Ability to fit in the existing footprint, play surface area, so the total capacity, so the number of kids that it can handle, as well as improving our accessibility and inclusivity in the play options that we're offering the children of Porter County, and as well as cost. That was also it had to be feasibly affordable for us to do in a year. And this one met all that criteria, and we felt that it was the best option from the ones that we received. I do have the renderings from the other company, if people want to pass that around and take a look at it. We felt that the other ones didn't quite have the same feel of child play, that early childhood, the camp aged feel to it, or the same kind of welcoming environment to it.
I have to say, Jake, this spinner thing looks entirely too safe. You know, compared to what we had when we were kids.
None of this is as dangerous as the playgrounds I played on.
Hey, see what I mean?
Yeah, the
It was
fact-
fun while it lasted.
The fact that it's not steel is
Right,
far,
there you go.
is far and away better.
Metal slides that burned you on the way down.
The metal slide with the bump, those are great, man.
If they didn't burn you.
You guys are showing your age.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, Jake, the little, almost like a curved rock climbing wall thing, how tall is that?
So that climbing structure is about as big as the entire play unit on the other end.
Okay, it's great.
So it is a, I don't know if I have a picture of it in the, I think I have a picture of it in my handout, yeah. There's for size reference of that climber.
Okay. This is gonna be pretty popular. It's
I was excited about the climber because one of my big things is we had to have something for kids closer to that 12, 13-year-old mark for climbing. That's what they want to do, and I had to find a climber that was big enough to handle that. That would still fit. I looked at a few different ones, but they required cutting additional area out or trimming trees back, and I didn't want to do that.
it's not gonna be mulch, I'm guessing?
So the surfacing it's called Fibar. So it's an engineered wood safety fiber that meets the ADA requirements as well as fall safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is a basic mulch, but
Yeah.
it's just
But got some cushion to
an
it.
eco-safe.
Yeah, it's mulch that's meant to be.
It's playground mulch.
Yeah, yeah.
It comes completely different. They run magnets to it to make sure it doesn't have anything in it.
Yeah.
It's ground a little finer.
Yeah.
We buy it by the semi load. So it's very affordable.
That's great, Jake.
So yeah, so that is, I feel the playground we'd like to pursue. I don't know if I need to ask a vote to move forward to start, to continuing raising funds for it, to go towards this?
Back to Jake. Well, I think as a board, we should approve the design.
That's kind of what I like.
At that point, then we can approve the raise.
Okay.
I think once we approve the design, then you can approve,
Okay.
that pretty much gives you the green light for the,
Looking for a motion
Okay.
to approve
And-
the design and continue with funding
well,
options.
yeah, design and location. Let's motion that and get it done. That way we've all agreed to where it's going and what it's gonna look like.
Are you gonna second it?
I will.
All right, I'll make a motion then.
Okay, now I'm gonna second, it. And we have discussed location, we met with the folks who provide this. And it's in the footprint of what we've got out there, when we have to do a little burning or a little dirt work here and there, but all in all,
Yeah.
it's pretty much gonna fit right where a lot of stuff is right now.
Yeah, 'cause
Except for what's the pit?
The Gaga pit.
The Gaga pit is gonna have to be relocated, but we've got
Yeah,
room for that too.
Yeah,
Ball
that,
pit.
Gaga ball pit.
So we're gonna keep a Gaga ball pit?
Yeah, I would have a uni on.
we're just gonna move it.
I don't know what it is, but I love it.
It's an octagon that they mess around, they hit the ball with their hands. And the object is they hit the ball out or something like that?
You have to hit the other pin out, but it's only knee and below.
It's
So it's like.
modern day dodgeball.
Kind of like-
It's incredibly popular.
There's 3 of them in the playground at Washington Township.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, every playground in East Porter County's
So we're
got
gonna move it?
Gaga ball.
We're gonna move it, yeah,
Just pick
it'll
it
still
up.
be out there. It's just, so that's the main unit will fit right where that pit is. The inclusive spinner will fit right in front, in between that, and the climbing structure will go where the existing structure's at. So it'll all stay within that same encapsulated area that's already being used.
Right.
It'll just be more,
Sidewalks are already there, we may have to cut in a couple of ramps from the sidewalk itself to make it ADA compliant, right? A couple things like that, but
Yeah.
all in all, the
Zero entry.
footprint and most of it's there and ready.
Jake, does it look like this could be done before camp this summer?
no.
I was hoping, really, really hoping.
But what would limit that is simply the supply chain manufacturer timeline. It's like 6 to 8 months out from the time we order it. But they can install it almost in the dead of winter, as long as the ground's not frozen solid. So it's,
So we don't pull out old one
I won't pull out the old one till after camp, and this is there.
How bad a shape is that old one in?
Not bad.
I mean, seriously, how bad a shape is that thing in?
I personally don't trust it.
You just said something, so guess what you just made that into? You just made that into a liability.
Okay.
Do you have an engineering degree, or it just doesn't look?
We can have, I'll tell you what we can do. If you really want to know how bad it is, Mary Sanders from Parks and Recreation is a certified playground inspector. You can have it inspected, and I will probably pretty much tell you, if you're telling me if it's splintered, it's going to come out bad. If it's pretty much any playground over about 20 years old, it's gonna come out, especially if they were built out of wood. I'm dealing with this issue right now in my job, so if you want to confirm that it is no longer good, we can have it inspected, if that's what you would like. There's a couple companies that will inspect them, but there is a fee to have them inspected. So, if that's what the board would like to have.
We're not talking about, right now, we're just looking to make sure that it's okay for kids playing,
Yeah.
particularly.
But once
camp.
they, this is what I've learned from, once they inspect it and say, they put their red tag on it and say it's not safe, it's done. It becomes a liability that we are now allowing, like anything else, someone inspects it, they tell you it's bad. If you don't take it out, then it becomes a liability on your end to keep it around.
Yeah,
So
you
that's
don't
why I'm
want
saying,
that.
if we have this thing inspected, that's where you're laying it. So, and I'm not the attorney here, but.
Might we have somebody in county government who could inspect it so we don't have to pay a fee?
My understanding when it comes to playgrounds, the person inspecting said playground has to be a licensed playground. There's actually
Yeah,
a
there's certifications
certificate
for
you
that.
get for going to school to learn how to inspect the playground. There's another company, I've actually got their bid, and it was like to inspect one of the playgrounds at the school was like $300 is what, down at one of the schools, and they do it by post. It's kind of crazy. Oh, yeah, so.
I think it's worth $300.
But
worth up to
if they
$500.
come back and it's bad, we gotta take it back.
Well, what are we gonna do?
I know, I agree, but I'm just.
We're talking about it at a public meeting, it's not like.
I know, we just said it at a
Yeah.
public meeting. Yes, my friend.
Want me to take a step? Matt Houghton, former park manager. In 2010, I called Iron Forge over Parkside Playground. Iron Forge said their factory burned down, that playground was not legal, and for me to remove it ASAP because it was not legal or safe. And it's been modified by park staff, which also makes it illegal. FYI.
Okay.
The manufacturer told us to remove it in 2010. Previous administration said leave it up.
I feel like that kind of,
Pretty much.
yeah.
That pretty much puts a fork in it, guys.
All right.
It was built in 1994.
Yeah. It's been,
Maybe we can do, I know Tyler's not very happy right now.
I got 80 kids
Oops,
that I
sorry.
had to entertain for 8 weeks. And while I agree the playground was not safe, I'm gonna need something.
Yeah, that was my
before
thought
we
is,
make the big-
what could we potentially provide for camp? I don't know if you can.
Pogo sticks? I'm teasing.
Well,
Gotta be
I guess at
something.
this point,
I can.
here's what we got now. We've got a playground that's bad. We've got a staff member that's concerned about little kids having something to do.
But also saying,
We,
I want them to stay.
well, no, let's, I'm just go through this process. It is February. Camp starts in,
Second week of June.
we got
3 months.
12 weeks,
We got 2
14
months to get a plan together, okay?
New one is 6 to 8 months
But
out.
I know that, but we got 2 months.
Something temporary.
Something temporary maybe we can do. And Tyler, I hate to throw another, maybe you guys can try and think of something, but we're in a box right now, so, sorry.
I'll think of something.
Okay, I'm sure you will,
No
so,
pressure.
we could
Time for some research.
go buy a bunch of straw bales.
Yeah.
We'll build a fort.
I was gonna say, there might be
Amazing.
something we can put out there that'll work until we can get that full structure. I think that we can make a plan,
Okay, well, all right. So,
depending upon what,
Talk to the supplier or whatever, and I know that you don't have any pull, but maybe the salesperson could say, this, we are in dire straits here. Might be able to finagle something.
okay,
I know you will. I know you would have anyway, so I'm not.
all right, so, once again, life.
Yeah, I knew it was an unfortunate bridge, we were gonna have to
Okay,
cross them over there.
all right, we're through that.
Okay.
Yes,
Do we,
are you done?
do we need to vote on this layout and this one is?
Yep.
Okay, that was.
We didn't vote, did we?
No.
We didn't vote, yeah, that's,
All right, yeah. That got convoluted, that's okay.
all right. Craig Kenworthy,
Yes,
Brian Wiseman,
Yes.
Carl English,
Yes.
Robert Durantz,
Yes?
Tony Dunning.
Yes.
Yeah, and then, yeah, in the meantime, depending upon what we find out with everything, I'll get a plan.
you might get lucky. Supplies change. Never know.
All right, now.
And maybe consider, I mean, I don't know, just put it out there, if something happens with another one of their people, where a slight modification is required, but we could still get them equipment quicker, you know?
Yeah, there could be something where, yeah, we can find something that they could get delivered in 2 months. Cost feasible, of course.
More Gaga ball pits.
Yeah, so let me finish my, so that was the big thing that we're working on, was that playground.
Okay,
And then, so the work is continuing at Brink Across. The atrium room is completed, so that room is done.
okay.
They've replaced, the maintenance crew replaced the flooring in the stone room, and they're currently in the process of rebuilding the tea house. So.
They're still working on it? Okay.
Yeah, so rehab work has started on that tea house. And then Jackie's been working on a NERPA park metric evaluation, which is something our Parks Department hasn't done before. I can pass out, I didn't print it out because it's 18 pages long. But this will let us measure our levels of service, our growth, our revenue per acre, revenue per park. It'll give us a much more in-depth analysis on how we're performing as a park system. So Jackie's been working with that. And she's also been working very closely with Eric on reconstructing our website and our program guide, as well as cleaning up Donor Snap.
And I got the little thing in the mail, hit
Yep.
with the little code and presto.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see.
And then grant activity, I've been working with Sharon on grants from the Valpo Rotary Club, the Porter County Community Foundation, and Bass Pro. We're also going to be working on the Tri-Kappa grant here soon as well. We're gonna get together Friday and try to write a few of these up. Department events, nothing to report there. Staffing, some good news, some bad news. We came out of the county council meeting better than we went in, but we didn't get everything. So we were able to fix our hourly caps. Those are up to, we do have a cap up to 19 now. We did fix that on the 144s. We got the additions into the non-reverting to help pay for camp counselors. We did not get the full-time position, unfortunately. We got denied that one. It was a relatively positive conversation back and forth. They were supportive. I mean, we didn't get beat up or tore down by any stretch. So they definitely saw the importance in it, the merit to it. Poor timing is kind of how this was summed up, which we knew was a risk going into it. But we've planted the seed, we've started the conversation, so we're moving in a good direction. I think they'll be much more receptive to these conversations going forward, especially come budget season, when we get ready to start putting that together. So the foot pursuit training is in full force. Luckily, the trails have held up. They're not in too bad a shape, even with all the rain, so that is going well. The kids program is doing great. Coach Joe is taking the kids on adventure and incorporating parts of the course along with the drills for speed and strength. And then these programs, a lot of what Becky does requires volunteer work, volunteer coaches. So we do want to say thank you to the 7 volunteer coaches that are helping with that, as they wouldn't be possible without that. As always, it's a great partnership with the Sheriff's Department. It's always nice having that relationship and that participation. And that race is on March 4th. So that'll be a good day. Hopefully, the park's not a swamp on March 4th. The twice monthly yoga programs at Brinket Cross are being well attended. And then this year, Becky has brought back the youth art monthly programs, so we're excited to have those back. And actually has added a second class in March and actually started the programs in February, and we're getting good demand on that. And then the adult art programs kicked off as well this month. Those are getting good participation and getting some standalone classes. And in February, the Parks and School was pretty full. We're getting a lot of attention on the Parks and Schools, and we're getting a lot of requests for field trips. So that's good. We're growing those relationships with the schools, and then all of the supplies are being updated to meet current Indiana Department of Education standards, which is important. And then, so March has already had quite a few Parks and Schools scheduled, more requests are coming in. So far, they've been able to meet the demand for every request for a Park to School. And then we've also started the programs in Hebron Library, So those are gaining traction. We're getting more of our presence in South County, where we're sorely lacking in general. And then last week, the building trades teacher from Chesterton came out to look at the rabbit hutch. They're going to actually build us a new rabbit hutch, which is great. I'm excited to start that partnership, that program up. And then as well as we've started a partnership with the Morgan Township FFA. So they are raising chicks, and then so they're going to raise the chicks, and then they will rehome them to us. So that saves us from having to buy the chicks or try to raise them in the most fragile state. And it gives the FFA in Morgan Township a reliable partner that can take them once they're no longer being used for their class. And then this is also collectively working towards improving our animal program as well, getting it away from kind of a backyard animal farm to a community farm for people. And then the maintenance staff has been busy. They've done a lot of work to the farmhouse. They've replaced a lot of the flooring. They've repainted it. It's looking good in there. The naturalist office lighting was updated to LED, and new exhaust fans were installed in the restroom as well. They were also able to get the new benches installed for around the interpretive signs. Staff worked on refurbishing the 18-foot trailer that hauls our equipment around, so that was good. And also, like I mentioned earlier, they've been continuing to work at Brinket Cross. They've been spending a lot of time at Brinket Cross getting it taken care of. It needed a lot of work, and it's getting the attention it deserves. And then, the greenhouse has been completed, or the atrium of Brinket Cross. As far as communications and marketing, the big thing has been the program guide. We're reworking it, making sure it's nice and finalized before we actually make that QR code live, as well as completely rebuilding that website. So it's, in a point, I think all I have.
Could you express to Matt Brown and the staff just how impressed we are with how much they've gotten done this winter in our facilities across the parks? It's really impressive how organized and efficient you guys have been getting stuff done. It's nice to see.
And they will be happy to hear that. We actually did get, IT's been looking at some internet work in some various buildings, and they've complimented as well on how much nicer a lot of them look compared to what they have in the past. So, good job, guys.
And also, Tyler and Becky, thank you, as always. Keep the kids straight and everybody moving.
Trying.
Hey, Tyler?
Yeah.
Are you dealing with Rachel down at Morgan? Have you talked to her? And I know we buy a lot of plants for our gardens and stuff. She's got a heck of a greenhouse back there.
Yeah, I've kind of just been focusing on animals right now, but
Okay, yeah, I mean, it might be somewhere else that the kids could help us. I mean, they've got a greenhouse and they just, I know the Career Center bought a bunch of germination boxes and,
Yeah, I can reach back out.
yeah. Have you been in her little?
We've got a community garden that needs help.
She's got a hydroponic thing going down there now and,
Yeah, you see,
Does she?
yeah.
we're out there.
Yes, but yeah, she might, you know, be able to help us with some flower, or plants for the garden, you know, as opposed to buying them. And give the kids down there some buy-in up at this park too, so,
Yeah, that's actually on our to-do list, is to revitalize that community garden.
yeah, so. Just a thought, maybe next year. She might even have some for this year.
Jake, I've got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know, bathrooms out at Sunset Hill Farm, are they ADA compliant?
The one attached to the naturalist office is, that ramp has been built for that purpose. And then the silo, the restrooms that were built but connected to the silo are.
So we have at least 2 buildings that have ADA compliant
Yeah.
bathrooms. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but I heard something to the contrary, and I wanted to confirm from the horse's mouth. See how I did that? That's fine. Sweet. Thank you, appreciate that.
Anything else for Jake, guys? Ladies?
No, thank you.
Thank
Keep
you.
it up. Keep poking.
Yeah, we're making a lot of headway. We had a minor setback on Tuesday, but we'll keep moving.
All right.
Temporary, not just minor.
Temporary setback.
What's the setback? What's something? Listen. NIPA. Who's the official NIPA person today?
I'm Joy Moore, I'm the secretary of
Closer. Here. You come sit. We can hear you better this way.
Does the microphone work?
Should? That microphone
I
should.
can talk loud enough up here.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right.
That works.
We have a new president this year, Mark Payne. He will be our president for 2023. He unfortunately is working tonight, so he couldn't be here, but he looks forward to working with the park board. We also have another new park board member. His name is Russ Jackson. He is a 2023-2024 member. And we have bought our seed for the year, so we're hoping the weather stays nice-ish to plant.
Okay.
We did make a motion at our last meeting to increase our gate fee at our show. It's going from $5 to $10. We just offer a lot more activities now that we really think we could go up to another $5. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Anyone have any questions about what's going on?
Is that $10 a car, a person?
It's $10 a person.
Do you
And
have
then,
a certain age free?
I think it is 6 and under are free.
Okay.
12 and under.
12?
Sorry. And then we are looking to do a wireless option of payment this year. We're still looking into that. It's not a for sure thing. But that might just make it easier because so many things are card nowadays.
It's
Cash.
actually super simple with the Square. You can
Yeah.
actually buy the Square for free.
That's what we're looking into.
Very good. What about senior citizens, special break for seniors?
I'm not sure. Do we have?
Nothing official, yeah.
We,
You're gonna take it under advisement?
yeah.
Okay.
Something to consider.
Think on it.
Senior day on Friday, also Friday's education day and senior day.
Okay.
What does senior day allow? Is there do they have to pay to get in? Or is it just extra activities for seniors?
It's just a discounted.
A discounted
free.
rate?
Yeah.
You got put on the spot, didn't you?
Yeah, that's okay.
Hard questions.
That's what I'm here for.
Does anybody else have any questions? Oh, thank you. Looking for seeing green crops growing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll do the usual. What are you growing? No. All right. IGRS, how you doing today?
Pretty good. We will be out and about out there, starting to clean up the layout,
Okay.
and we're still working on our fence. We've got a couple estimates that we're looking at right now.
Okay.
So we're going ahead as fast as we can right now.
Okay.
And I still need to talk to Jake about the water situation a little bit. I got a couple members that are really pushing me on this water.
So you want a tank of water up there, or what? I know we discussed this, that, no.
I know it's been discussed before I even came in here, I think. but-
Are you looking for a permanent water thing up there? Is that,
I have a couple
Ideal?
members that want to push to hook up to something out there. And they would furnish one guy wants to furnish a lot of the pipe and stuff.
okay.
We're kind of up, we're up and down on the idea right now.
I'm gonna, just a second. Matt,
But I'm saying,
I know you didn't, but you're the one who'll have this knowledge. When that bathroom up there was unhooked, did the well get abandoned?
talk about it?
What?
We come up and talk about it? All right. So Murray House was tore down in 2008. The well for Murray House is still up there. The power was shut off to it. So between the upper bathrooms and where Murray House was, there's a pipe that runs to the well. The problem is you gotta find where the house was, because the pump's house was in that house.
Okay,
So you had to connect the pipe between the well to where it gets cut off by when they tore it down. The pressure tanks are actually in the basement when you have the bathroom. The plan was, Boy Scout built an insulated shed. We were gonna put that insulated shed right where the well was, pump power to it, hook everything back up, so the amphitheater and Pine Shelter had water. Never happened. So the well's up there.
Yep.
Most of the pipes up there. Just get a pressure tank. There's electric there now too.
Would it be possible to meet with Jake or one of us if we're available to go, it's here, it's here?
Yes, I have a good idea where it is.
Okay,
Right now, the best time to find it because the well is up in question.
okay,
It's up there, I know.
okay.
That was the best water in the park too, they call sand. They always pass the inspection.
all right.
Well, the way we understood it was, my one guy wants to hook up to the water that was in the bathrooms.
That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
That's that
There
system.
were two sets of pressure tanks, one in Murray House, and there was a pressure tank system in the upper, in that bathroom. That would pressure tank, pressurize the amphitheater and what.
We can work something out, calling it until we figure something out.
We gotta find the well,
We
gotta find the well
have-
first. That's job
Missing
one.
link between where the house was and the two pieces of pipe.
Yeah.
All right,
It's there somewhere.
okay.
Okay.
You're
I
the only
just
one I
wanna
know
bring
to
it
even
up.
ask. So,
You're just lucky here tonight, that's
Yeah.
all, man.
I only come once a year.
No, that's great. Good timing.
But everything else, we're looking forward to getting out there again.
cool,
Great.
excellent.
We'll be hopefully starting up in May.
All right. Well, the kids will be thrilled to see you out there with your trains, so. All right, Sharon.
Well, as Jake said, it's been a busy couple of months. We did submit the grant to the Community Foundation for $10,000 for the playground. We should hear about that probably about the first week of April. There's one going into Valpo Rotary for $5,000, which is also for the one piece of equipment, the spinner. That has to be in by the 31st of this month. And as Jake said, we're going to talk about Bass Pro tomorrow and Tricapa. So hopefully we will get those out. They're all due within the same period of time. We had the first meeting of the amphitheater committee, and Carl, we're going to meet and fill you in on what happened. But we had the meeting, Jake was able to attend, we appreciate that. And so the goal right now is to get some bids for architects to do the conceptual drawings, so we can go out and start fundraising for that. And so hopefully, our next board meeting is going to be April 20th, and I'm hoping that we will have some proposals by then that will have gone to the committee first. And obviously, then if we pick something, we will bring it to you. Jake will bring it to you for you to look at, so we engage the architect. But,
Sharon, I'm gonna just slow this down very carefully, because you just hit a point. We had a conversation about this already, and I'm just gonna say it. I think if anybody's gonna be picking a design, it should be this park board. Because it's gonna be ours. And before we go looking for, this is me, this isn't the rest of the board. I think that if it's gonna go on our property, we're gonna deal with it. We should be doing the design. The other thing that, I've been through these designs for buildings and parks and before. This should be more of a community-based design process. I think it was called a Shiraz or something that we did when we did Akiki. We brought in stakeholders to say, okay, this is what's gonna work. This is what we'd like to see if we're gonna use it. If we keep driving this through a committee that's part of the foundation and not a part of the park board, I know the money's in your hands, but it's ours to maintain. It's going on our property. I don't like the way this process is running right now. And that's just me. I don't know how the rest of everybody sitting up here feels, but I think we're doing this the wrong direction. I want to see the amphitheater built. Don't ever take that out of there. But I think that as a board, you guys are raising our money, and you guys do get input. And I will come to every meeting you have with this thing. But I think the design and the okay for the design should come from this group up here and not from your group. And that's me.
Well, did it pay for it?
I'm off. What's that?
The last part.
You guys have, the money's in your account.
Right.
We can't stop you from spending your money anywhere you want it. But what I'm saying is, my humble opinion is, the design, the okay for the design and everything should come from this group and not from the foundation. And I'm done.
Okay, and as I told you in our conversation, I mean, number one, Carl you appointed him to be the.
I understand that.
And
I'm just.
Jake has been involved at every step of the way, and this taking, this is going to be the time taking. We have no intention of doing it. We can't do anything without your approval. It has to come to you. There is absolutely no way that we would sign any agreement without your approval, that would be the concept looks good, that's what you want, that you want that, and then we go raise the money. So this is just the preliminary stuff, so at least that we know, number one, what are we looking at? Is that, how much is it gonna cost? Is this, Jake and I have talked about having a public meeting at some point to present some different designs to people. This is a 2 or 3 year process, especially depending on how much it's gonna cost before we even get to that point. But without any drawings, it's very difficult to go out and ask people to support this. Every grant, Jake now is submitting those pictures for the playground before we can ask for money, because that's what the grantors want to see. So it is going to be a process. And then once the design is approved, we know how much it is going to cost, that's when then we talk about who are we going to approach. Whether it's going to be foundation money, whether it's going to be trying to get a match from Department of Natural Resources in, or DNR, so that they may do restrooms and things with the amphitheater, or whatever they will participate in. So this is not a process that we're going out on our own and out on a limb. We'd never do that. I assure you we would never do that. That's where we're at. This is the beginning where we're starting to gather. And so the committee would be, it's made up of Tom Sanders and Michael Sawyer, and Jake has been meeting, so we are discussing at that level. And hopefully Carl can come.
Yeah.
And absolutely be part of that, and you too, because you had said that you're the other person on the
Land acquisition and
landscape and
improvement.
something committee, yeah. So I just want to assure you that we're not signing any agreements in your name or putting ourselves in a position. But we need to get some proposals to see.
Well, I've said it already. I said my concern is the design process right now and what you guys, I I've seen Tom's sketch, and I'm concerned about being able to raise the money, being able to get this job done. And I forwarded the sketch. It's a grandiose plan, and I'd like to see some, I don't know, it's.
There's a lot of overlapping here in terms of that. I would assume, always dangerous, that anyone we employ architecturally or any other way to design something, their first question is going to be, how much do you have to spend?
Well,
So I think we need to, I mean, how could anybody design something for us when they don't know? It's like telling somebody to build you a house and he says, well, how much do you want to spend on your house? So it's two things. It seems to me that we need to have some threshold determination, not that it should impede our dreams we have, but a threshold idea of what kind of dollars we're talking about, and then have somebody with those kind of dollars in mind show us what we can get. And if we're completely displeased with that, then we may have to decide, well, we're going to have to spend some more money in order to get what we want. And then secondly, anyone who is coming in here to help us with this process, and you alluded to you and Jake having talked about this, but that individual needs to be committed to a public process, needs to be committed to convening and conducting at least one, if not multiple, opportunities for the public to comment on the drawing or the schematic of what it's going to look like.
well, and it's like, which comes first, the chicken and the egg, you know, because. and so
To me, I don't think it's even that. I'm not going to pay somebody to design something and then not tell them how much he has to spend.
Oh,
That's the first thing that we have to build a consensus as to what we are prepared to spend. And if it turns out that's completely ridiculously low, then we may have to revisit, and that, again, an architect can tell us that. He can laugh at us and say, you know, you're gonna literally get half of a barn, and that's all you're gonna get out there for that kind of money. But I think our first consensus building process is to give us an idea of what we're prepared to spend. At that point, we can go out and see if there's somebody out there, I'm sure there is, who is willing to help us in the design of what we want. And after we decide how much we're prepared to spend, we need to focus on what we want. And I'm not sure there's a consensus at this point as to exactly what we're trying to accomplish in the end of upgrading. We all realize we need to upgrade what we have out there. But after we figure out how much money we want to spend, I think we need to have an operation where we in fact define what it is we think we need and how we want to accomplish that.
You know, I don't disagree with any of that. And to me, this is just the first step. You know, get the committee, you gotta have a committee of people who are committed to the process. Then to figure out, we know we have the 155,000, that much we know.
I don't know about the people up here, but I don't have a clue what you can get for $155,000. Whether you can get twice of what we want or half of what we want.
Well, and I think what we're hoping is that, in fact, our Commissioner Jim Biggs, when we had the meeting with him, was saying, hoping that that could be a match for things. So you build from there.
But like you, I agree with what you said, you're not gonna raise a dime without a drawing or something that shows what your concept is.
And why, and what it can do for the parks too. I mean, that's the other selling point. If there is a venue out there that can attract, that can raise money for the parks, that they could rent out the facility, that's part of it too, that economic development part of it, and whether we bring, in terms, you were talking earlier about, you know, our people would bring people to bring money to Porter County. So, you know, I don't think, I would see myself as morally conservative. I'm not, we're not talking about a $20 million building out there. The money's not falling from the sky. But, you know, it's gonna cost, but can we get some partners? We've got, it's gonna be a steel facility, which we had talked about at our meeting. You know, can we get some input from steel companies? You you know, because this is a county park. We have two steel companies who sit in our park, you know, would they participate in this? Would some of the bigger,
Now, that is getting the cart before the horse, those kinds of thoughts, okay?
but, you know,
It's okay to dream. Right now, you're in the dreaming stage, right?
We're in the visioning stage. you
Right,
know.
you're coming up with your vision and ideas of what you want. I understand where she's coming from, and I think you also, I hear you saying or trying to say, we're getting there. Right now, it's really just kind of coming up with this idea of what you really want. It's taking a little bit of time, but ultimately, yes, you have to get the. You can tell somebody, well, this is kind of what we're envisioning. Can you tell us approximately how much this is going to cost? And they can kind of go from that. I mean, you can put a little bit of the cart before the horse. In this, I mean, I think you kind of have to come up with what you want, because you have to be able to direct somebody, say, well, how much is this going to cost? You kind of have to say, well, kind of what are we looking at doing?
And I think Craig's point is that if you're going to have a schematic to be a vision for people to see, to say, I want to invest in that, I think Craig wants the board to be part of what that's going to look like.
Right.
I mean, the foundation has no power to do anything. All we can do is suggest to you and then go out and try to make that vision a reality. You know? And convince other people why this would be a great opportunity for Porter County, or for them to invest their money.
Because, you know, Urshel is in that neck of the woods now. Yeah, I mean, that's right down, you know, right, not too far from where they are at. Definitely, they're also in Liberty Township, you know, so.
There are a lot of, and I have to say, we have a new board member on the foundation board, Nathan Ulrich, who is from, he's up in, lives in Beverly Shores. He's written federal grants for the government. So he is looking at that level to see if there's some, either in arts and culture, or also in parks and outdoor and health related stuff. So he's looking there. So, you know, I think right now it's just getting this first step. And if something comes in and we love it and nobody's interested, then obviously we're going to have to scale back, you know, at some level. But right now, it's kind of like the playground that was built in 1994. You have a facility out there that has plywood floors that are coming up in the corner. People do use it, but it doesn't. It's not going to attract people to come. So we have what's the name of is it the Prairie Music Festival? The guys that were out there.
Lightning Bug.
Lightning Bug
Yeah.
Festival. Those two
John-
gentlemen.
yeah.
Who are promoters and brought in the big Lightning Bug show last year and have in the past. They also would like to have, they think it's, that they could bring acts in that would come if there was the sound system, if there was the lighting system, if there was some. Right now, that facility is not handicap accessible. So if you want to have people with disabilities come out, there's no paved paths. There's nothing, there's no restrooms close by, so, you know, there are all kinds of things that would enhance that. But the guys from the Lightning Bug Festival feel that they put on one in Milwaukee and they do stuff out in Las Vegas, and they could bring acts who would come if there was a facility. And it is a natural amphitheater. I mean, that hill is beautiful, and in some places, Porter County people can bring their children, they can spread their blankets. And if there was a way to have in front of the stage, if there was cement where people could have wheelchairs. You know, there's all kinds. You can have the Taj Mahal, and then you can have something that's practical. So we're just at the beginning, right? You know, but I assure you that nothing is going to be done without this board approving it and moving forward with it.
I would suggest that the committee convene and come up with a scope of work that they would like to hire a professional to do to help us through some of these things. What's it going to cost to do things? What is visionary and what is impossible in terms of that process? And then bring your report back to the board before we go any farther on that, and make sure there is a consensus among this board as to what your dreams are or what your practical considerations are in terms of what, and you make a good point. even what's the goal of the structure? I mean, and it's going to be a different structure depending upon what that goal is. If you're really going to focus on economic development and bringing in bigger and more elaborate, for lack of better nomenclature, shows of one kind or another, that's one kind of a facility you need. You need a much different facility if it's going to be the Chesterton High School choir giving a performance on Thursday night or something.
And we hope that that would be both, that it would be attractive to outside groups, but it also could be used by the community, because it's a community park. We want people to come.
Carl, are you up to that challenge?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's get about the task of doing it, and let's see where our dreams lead us here in terms of what can happen.
Yeah, I just have a couple more things. We did, really for the first time, we did an end of the year donor request for funds. We sent out about 800, I think, 842, I think, Jack, of requests for funds. So I was really pleased, because you know when you send mail request out, you're lucky you don't get 3% back. But in that 2-month period, we raised $9,425, and over half of those were for new donors. And some of the donors, because we had listed in there that, in our letter, that some of the things we're working on was the new playground, Brinker Cross, the amphitheater. One donor specifically designated their money to Brinker Cross. That was something that they are very interested in, and they want to go out and help raise more money for the restoration of the garden out there, the building. So I think that strategy will help. But I was pleased to get that, because in the past, that wasn't done. And then we also got the $10,000 from the Anderson Foundation during that same time period, and $5,000 of that was used for the playground, because we wrote that in the grant. And I want to thank Jackie and Jay for helping with the getting the mailing out, because the Donor Snap software is utilized by both the foundation and also the park. And so we provided all the envelopes, all the papers, so there was no county money going into that. Jackie helped do some of that mail verge, because I can't do that on my home computer. And then we're making a donation for the postage. So that went out. So, but I do want to thank both of them for that. And so that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To keep some momentum on this, is it realistic to think that by the April meeting, there can be a work product of the committee to present to the board?
This is March already, because the committee has to meet again and to kind of talk about some of those
Okay, so
plans.
the answer is no.
I would say, I'm hoping by midsummer that we would have that, or maybe even before that, so that we can look at and build some proposals.
And certainly let the rest of the board know when the committee is meeting, and everyone is welcome.
Oh, yeah,
She always does.
absolutely.
All right, any public comment? Hi, Deb.
I'm Deb Armstrong. Besides being with NIPA, I'm with the Duneland Photography Club. And again, we're always appreciative of you give us some meeting space. We meet the second Tuesday of every month. And we continue to provide the photographs for your digital calendar and any use for publications. We're also teaching 2 classes this year for the public. One will be in May. We're doing a photographic trail where we'll have stations around the park and do some photography instruction at those stations out in May. And then October, I'm teaching a cell phone photography class as well. So, and those are for the public. So again, appreciate the partnership you guys offer this. And photos at other events as well. So.
It's always great to have a photographer friend.
And we have about 40 members that come regularly to the park, and they can we'll have pop-up hikes here and there at brink across. Used to get people in parks, and it's amazing, people always say, like, I didn't know this was here. I didn't know this was what it is, so it's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
As the playground starts to take shape, is that something that some of them might be willing to do, like what it looks like right now, and so there should be kind of progression that we can put on the websites, you know, coming.
Transformation Tuesdays.
That would be great.
It's kind of,
They're in Chesterton, in Liberty Township. Yes. Created a special taxing district that was created pretty much for them.
Oh. Guys, good?
good, yeah. Thank you, Deb.
Sure. Oh, if you guys want to say something, go ahead.
No, we were just talking about townships.
Okay, cool.
You got some,
Yes.
Yes, I have a question and a concern I'd like to
Oh,
raise.
name?
My name is Autumn Miller. I'm a naturalist. I work in the naturalist office with Ed over here.
Okay.
So my question is about the playground. When you say you're going to remove the playground equipment, is that going to include the logs and the boulders that are also out there?
no, it's just gonna be that play structure itself.
Structure?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, none of the natural playground will get touched.
Okay. I actually wanted to voice a concern about that, separate from the initial concern I wanted to voice, but as you were talking about the safety of the play structure, the natural play structure also, I don't know if that natural play structure was created with the intention of kids being able to jump from one structure to another, but that is how it's being used, and it is pretty much a lawsuit, a pending lawsuit as it is. Yes.
Go ahead, keep talking. I'll be quiet.
I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention since the discussion of the playground did not include the natural playground idea. I do support the concept of a natural playground, but with how it is right now, I don't think it's very safe. I've taken my friend's kid there and held her hand as she hops from one thing to another and terrified that she's going to crack her head open. And I see kids at camp doing the same thing. I see little kids from park visitors doing the exact same thing. So I don't know how that structure was intended to be used, but that is currently how it's currently being used, and the way it's being used is unsafe. So I wanted to bring that to all of your attention.
I said the same thing when we presented.
Thank you for your concern. I'm gonna smile at you, Jake. That's all I can do at this point, so. Please.
I did have one other concern
Yes.
that I at least would like to voice. I was a little surprised by the proposal to hold programs at was it a Baptist church? The gymnasium? Yeah, the concept of a public park board, a public parks department, a representative of the government holding actual events and programs at a religious institution does not sit well with me. I understand that we don't have a lot of options and that there may be a fantastic facility, but we do provide programs to everyone in the community, especially for everyone to be comfortable in the community and coming to our programs. And it does suggest not just a partnership, but also possibly favoritism with us hosting those programs at a religious institution. But also there is a very strong possibility and likelihood that members of the community may not be comfortable coming to our programs if we are holding them at a religious institution. So I just wanted to voice that concern. I didn't hear any sort of discussion of that when you discussed the issue. I don't know what how this runs, so I don't know if what you did today made the matter final and no longer up for discussion or not, but I at least wanted to voice that and make sure that is at least some part of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for your concerns. Any other?
It's not final yet. There's a few more steps in there that have to be discussed. So just-
Anybody else? Well, this is probably the biggest crowd we've had in ages, so thanks for coming, everyone.
I said there was any beer.
Sorry. Somebody lied to you, Matt.
We have a little tequila somewhere. I need to sign some documents. I'm missing it.
Herb Reed reincarnated.
Missing something.
This coming week?
If you were worried about any liability, she just gave in kind of familiar enough. I mean, now we're on notice.
That's why it's like,
Ninth.
Now, on the other hand, that's why
Thursday
you buy
morning,
insurance.
7 a.m. at the,
What information do we have to dictate how things can
Put that in here.
We have now
They
been
could be
put on
jumping.
notice that it's being used in a dangerous fashion. We've been told.
I don't know.
We
That's
knew-
been around for
We're now
decades.
charged with the legal responsibility of knowing
Jumps from a rock or a log.
people doing that.
That's why I
That's
what I thought too.
she's another public, actually, you know what?
I don't
If that's a concern, it's a concern, it's whistleblower, the whole thing.
Danger in the eye of the
church.
She's clearly allowed to do that.
You gotta be responsible for your kids.
Improper, inappropriate.
But I do acknowledge,
That was a Walter Disney,
because I
whatever, I mean,
have, you know, concern that I've had in the past too about it, it's like
just move them. Get a forklift and move them.
activities
Make it
that
very
is
simple. Take a picture before you do it, take a picture after.
Well, then,
But that's, we're not even, we're not
then we
discussing.
need to slow down, because as I understood the action that was taken tonight, you approved it and you authorized Craig and I to document that approval in an MOU. If that's not what the board wants to have happen, then I gotta be told that, and I won't do it.
We still have.
Again, if the concern should not be one. There's nothing illegal.
There's something about it.
We still have some.
Where we
documents to sign.
wanna go
I think
together.
you're missing some documents, Dave. The cooperative thing has to be signed, right? Oh, they didn't need our signatures on that.
See you in the morning then unless we're snowed out.
Yeah, so as long as we don't get that blizzard, yeah, yeah, 'cause there's stuff on the best road. I'll have to figure out the answer for someone else.
Yeah, because
That'd be
the
nice.
technical stuff, you know, I think, facility use.
Yeah, 'cause I thought they had a small cat. I don't think the stores are almost out. Yeah, I'm kind of looking since it's for.
Yeah, well, we set up originally with, was that, that we would provide the photos and then they just.
I wanna be able to handle
Like the calendar that is on. So I just looked at that.
I don't wanna make that public.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, because what the deal was that, first I was smokers, and we'd submit those, and you guys can pick whatever. If we're gonna do it that way, then we'll put it up to be a public photo competition. If it's not, it's just like. So our club independently picks the top three, and then the venue parks, and then we send them home to the Center of North Carolina, who else was 104, and then it's just all on the calendar and race that. Well, we just want to.
Maybe people were sitting there.
Or should have. It's much wider. So, I'm just trying to understand. Yeah, that's how it was, so, but it's, it'd be great, set up for you guys to look out. Events and stuff on it. Go to these events in town. Yeah, it is, yeah, it should, you guys, I mean.
Well, we have our
It just, yeah, it's just, we don't, we all would have It's 4 years ago.
Yeah.